I just figured out the deep secret that ICE and the Trump administration is trying to hide. Initially, this video was going to be about the tragic shooting that happened in Minnesota a few years ago. I'm sure we've all heard about it by now, but Alex Peretti, a US citizen, was brutally murdered in plain sight by 7 ICE agents, all for, ironically, using his Second Amendment rights. The gun was literally taken from him before he was brutally shot multiple times. The amount of anger I felt when the news first surfaced was unimaginable. I had this whole script written out calling to impeach Trump and how ICE needs to go. But before I made it into a video, I started thinking, why? The Trump administration isn't blind. They're watching the news we're watching. They know the public is mad at them. So despite all this, why do they continue to enforce their brutal ways? Even die-hard MAGA supporters are calling out ICE for Alex Peretti's death. So if these tin-hatted, cult-like, smooth-brained idiots can somehow see the injustice that is ICE, why is it that the Trump administration refuses to change their ways? This is where I fell into the rabbit hole that is ICE. What I'm about to tell you isn't some revolutionary information. It's all out there in plain sight for anybody who does the most basic research. The only difference is that top government officials are just too scared to point it out. What this system has done is that they've cleverly centered the issue around whether illegal immigration is immoral or moral. By framing the issue around this specific topic, it makes it so no substantive action is ever taken. However, what they are trying to hide from you is that this was never an issue about illegal immigration. This is an issue about how Trump is handling illegal immigration. And the reason why they're trying to hide this is because the second you do the most basic research on how Trump is handling illegal immigration, you notice that it's the worst possible way humanly imaginable. Not only does it drain massive amounts of resources, money, and manpower, but it also creates widespread terror, triggers social chaos, and ultimately accomplishes nothing of substance. Trump's way of handling illegal immigration doesn't focus on solving the root issue it caused, but instead focuses on selling a message, and also something much, much more sinister. Let me break down just how stupid the current system is, because when you actually look at the numbers, it becomes clear that this isn't incompetence, it's intentional. Right now, ICE has a budget of about $29 billion a year. Out of that, they're spending nearly $4 billion annually just to keep people locked up in detention centers. We're talking about 70,000 people sitting in these facilities every single day, costing taxpayers $152 per person per day. That's more than what most people spend on a decent hotel room. But here's where it gets really messed up. When you actually look at who's being detained, 73% of these people, that's 51,100 individuals, have absolutely zero criminal record. No violent crimes, no felonies, nothing. They're literally just people who cross the border without papers and are waiting for their immigration court hearing. They're not a danger to anyone. They're just stuck in legal limbo, sitting in a cell that costs you and me $152 every single day. Now, you'd think if we're detaining all these people waiting for court dates, we'd at least have enough judges to actually process their cases, right? Wrong. We currently have only about 600 to 700 immigration judges in the entire country trying to handle a backlog of 3.9 million cases. Do the math on that. Each judge is responsible for roughly 6,500 cases. It's literally impossible. These cases are taking years to process. People are sitting in detention for months or even years just waiting for a court date because we don't have enough judges. Experts say we need at least 2,000 to 3,000 judges to actually handle this backlog in a reasonable time frame. We're short by about 1,500 to 2,000 judges. So you'd think the obvious solution would be to hire more judges, speed up the process, get people their day in court faster, deport the criminals quicker, and let the people with valid claims get processed, right? Well, here's what the Trump administration actually did. They cut 140 immigration judge positions. Let me say that again. They reduced the number of judges while the backlog grew to almost 4 million cases. And at the same time, they approved $45 billion to build more detention centers. They're literally doing the exact opposite of what would actually solve the problem. They're making it worse on purpose. Now, let me show you what we could do if we actually wanted to fix this system. If we changed our approach to only detain people who actually have criminal records, and I'm talking about the 27% of detainees that have actual criminal convictions, not just border crossings, we'd be detaining about 18,900 people instead of 70,000. These are everyone from people with violent crimes to those with non-violent offenses. These are the people who might actually pose some kind of risk or flight risk. The cost to detain just this group would be about $1.05 billion per year instead of $4 billion. Right there, we've saved $2.75 billion annually just by focusing our detention on people who actually have criminal backgrounds. Now, what do we do with those 51,000 non-criminal detainees? There's already a program for this. It's called Alternatives to Detention, or ATD. Instead of locking people up in expensive detention centers, you monitor them with ankle bracelets, check-ins, and case management. The compliance rate is basically the same as detention. People still show up for their court dates, but it costs $4.20 per day instead of $152. Let me put that in perspective. Monitoring someone in the ATD program costs 97% less than detaining them, and it works just as well. If we put all 51,000 non-criminal detainees into the ATD program, it would cost about $78 million per year instead of $2.83 billion. We're talking about saving $2.75 billion every single year just from this one change. Okay, so now we've got $2.75 billion freed up. What could we do with that money? Well, remember how we need about 2,000 more immigration judges to clear the backlog? Each immigration judge costs about $210,000 a year when you include salary, benefits, and overhead. To hire 2,000 judges would cost $420 million annually. That's it. Less than $500 million to solve the judge shortage that's causing the entire system to back up. We'd still have over $2 billion left over over from what we saved on detention. We could use that to build more courtrooms, hire support staff, invest in case management technology, expand legal orientation programs, all the things that would actually make the immigration system work efficiently. And here's the thing that really drives it home. This approach would actually make ICE more effective at catching dangerous criminals, not less. Right now, ICE officers are wasting their time managing and transporting 51,000 people who aren't threats. They're doing paperwork, supervising detention facilities, and monitoring people who are just waiting for court dates. If we moved those people to the ATD program, those ICE officers would be freed up to actually focus on the 1.3 million people with final removal orders who've disappeared, or to track down people with violent criminal records who are actually dangerous. It would make enforcement better, not worse. So if me, a random 17-year-old in his bedroom, could figure out this basic information, why is it that the government of arguably the most powerful nation in the history of the world cannot figure this out? The reason is very sad, but a tale as old as time. First of all, the main issue is that actually fixing problems doesn't sell nearly as well as looking like you're fixing problems. Think about it. If a news headline reads, "Trump deports 2 million illegal immigrants," that's going to generate way more buzz and excitement for his political career than a headline that says, "Trump reforms immigration court system." Even though the second one would actually solve the root problem, it's boring. It doesn't grab attention. It doesn't make people feel anything. People don't want nuanced solutions that work. They want dramatic action that makes them feel like change is happening. They want the spectacle. They want to see people getting rounded up and deported because it feels like justice is being served, when in reality, nothing is actually being solved. The problem just gets worse. And this isn't just an American thing. This is a human thing. People all around the world fall for this same trap. They fall for politicians who sell them simple, dramatic solutions to complex problems. They end up cheering for policies that sound tough but don't actually work. And worse, they end up supporting the very decisions that make the system more broken, not less. They're so focused on the performance of change that they don't realize they're being sold a lie that actively makes things worse. But here's the second reason why nothing is being changed, and this one is way more sinister. Money. Massive amounts of money. See, the current broken system isn't just politically convenient, it's also incredibly profitable for the right people. And those people have made sure that Trump knows exactly who they are. Let me introduce you to the two companies that are making an absolute killing off this disaster: GEO Group and CoreCivic. These are private prison companies that run the majority of ICE detention centers. And when I say majority, I mean nearly 90% of all ICE detainees are held in privately operated facilities run by these two corporations. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so some companies run the prisons, what's the big deal? Here's the big deal. GEO Group alone made $636 million in just the second quarter of 2025. That's 3 months. CoreCivic pulled in $538 million in the same period, up 10% from the previous year. These companies are raking in billions of dollars annually from keeping people locked up. And the more people in detention, the more money they make. It's that simple. They literally profit from human misery. The system staying broken isn't just good politics for Trump. It's a goldmine for these corporations. Now here's where it gets really disgusting. Both GEO Group and CoreCivic didn't just sit back and hope Trump would win. They invested heavily in making sure he did. GEO Group donated $500,000 to Trump's inaugural committee, $1 million to his Make America Great super PAC, another $1 million from their subsidiary, and $775,000 to Republican congressional funds. In total, GEO Group and its executives funneled nearly $2 million directly into Trump-related entities. CoreCivic wasn't far behind, contributing over $800,000 between the company, its CEO, and other executives. Combined, these two companies and their leadership donated $2.8 million to get Trump elected and keep him in power. Let me be crystal clear about what this is. This is a bribe. It's legalized corruption dressed up as campaign donations. These companies paid millions of dollars to Trump, and the second he got into office, he delivered exactly what they paid for. Within weeks of taking office, Trump reversed Biden's executive order that limited the use of private prisons. Then Congress passed that $45 billion budget for new detention centers, and guess who's getting those contracts? GEO Group immediately reactivated 4 facilities with 6,600 beds and told investors they expect to make $240 million annually just from those. CoreCivic reopened the Family Detention Center in Dilley, Texas, which holds 2,400 beds, and informed ICE that they can provide 30,000 more beds if needed. These companies didn't just donate to Trump and hope for the best. They got exactly what they paid for and then some. The return on investment has been absolutely insane. Since the election, CoreCivic's stock price jumped 56% and GEO's skyrocketed 73%. The day the budget bill passed, both stocks got another 3% bump. GEO's founder personally bought $3 million in company stock right before the election, and after Trump won, that investment more than doubled in value, generating about $4 million in profit for him personally. The executives at these companies are openly celebrating. CoreCivic CEO literally told investors, "This is truly one of the most exciting periods in my career." GEO's chairman said they're uniquely positioned for unprecedented growth opportunities. They're not even trying to hide it. They're bragging about it on earnings calls. And if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about the revolving door between ICE and these private prison companies. Julie Wood, who was the head of ICE from 2006 to 2008, has been sitting on GEO Group's board of directors since 2018. Daniel Bible, who was ICE's executive associate director, left his position right before the 2024 election to become an executive vice president at GEO Group. Daniel Radsdale, former ICE chief operating officer, joined GEO back in 2017 as an EVP. You see the pattern? Former ICE officials, the people who were supposed to be regulating these companies and overseeing immigration enforcement, are now working for the private prison corporations. They make the rules, they enforce the rules, and then they profit from the rules. So let's connect all the dots here. Private prison companies donate $2.8 million to Trump's campaign and inaugural committee. Trump wins and immediately reverses the policy limiting private prisons. Congress passes $45 billion for new detention centers, and those companies get billion-dollar no-bid contracts to build and run those facilities. Their stock prices double, making their investors and executives filthy rich. Former ICE officials rotate into executive positions at these companies. And all of this is public record. The donations are documented. The contracts are documented. The stock prices are public. The executives are literally celebrating on recorded earnings calls. None of this is hidden. It's happening in broad daylight. The only reason more people don't know about it is because no one in power wants to talk about it. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's just regular old corruption that's been legalized and normalized. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as intended for the people who paid to design it this way. After discovering all this, I'm not gonna lie, I felt completely hopeless. Because what the hell are we supposed to do when the entire system is literally designed to enable this kind of corruption, when the game is rigged from the start? Today, it's illegal immigration that they're using to distract us and line their pockets. Tomorrow, it'll be trans rights. The day after that, it'll be some other manufactured culture war issue designed to keep us angry at each other instead of angry at them. They keep feeding us these divisive topics, making us think these are the battles we need to fight, when really they're just distractions, smokescreens to keep us from seeing what's actually happening behind the curtain. Because while we're busy screaming at each other about who's allowed to cross the border or which bathroom people can use, actual human beings are dying, people are suffering, families are being ripped apart, communities are being destroyed, and all of it is happening because a handful of greedy corporations and corrupt politicians have successfully convinced us that we're playing a fair game, that if we just vote harder or argue louder, we can win. But we're not playing against each other. We never were. They've tricked us into fighting our neighbors, our coworkers, people who are struggling just like we are, while the real enemy sits back and watches their bank accounts grow. The truth is, we're all getting screwed by the same people, and until we stop falling for their divide and conquer tactics and start standing side by side against the politicians and corporations who are actually causing all our misery, nothing is ever going to change. They're counting on us staying distracted. They're counting on us staying divided. And as long as we do, they win. But anyways, like always, that's just my thoughts. Let me know how you feel down in the comments. GU out. And hey, if you actually want to help start this change and connect with others who are fed up with this system, join my Discord below where you can meet others who want real, sustainable change.